Let's get this
Hey
party
guys,
started!
I'm Lunar. I've decided to post more Brawl Stars content lately, since I'm a really big fan of the game. Don't worry, I will still do my AU, but I'll mostly talk about Brawl Stars now. Alright, today's topic will be Poco. Poco is a character I always liked, being a guitar player myself, and I always loved his playstyle. However, I feel like not many people are talking about his potential outside of being a healer. Normally, his healer build is just the capo and healing tunes to heal your teammates, especially in double tank comps, like Poco and Frank, or Hank, or Draco. But, but, what if I told you that you can think outside the box for a bit? This guide will be using Screeching Solo, and we'll be using the healing gadget. Utilizing this new ability to have a super to both heal yourself and to damage enemies, especially behind walls. This makes this healer pack a pretty good punch. Alright, let's get started then. For this guide video, I will talk about each and every game mode separately, and how you can think outside the box to actually be better at the attacker Poco. Let's start with Brawl Ball. Normally, you don't really want to play Poco in very bushy maps a lot of the times, but that's not a problem for him. The main thought process of attacker Poco is to stay near your teammates. By staying near your teammates, you allow them to sponge damage while also helping you get your first super. When you get your first super, you can start cycling it, and you don't need much more help anymore. It's just the start that he needs a bit of help. When you get your first super in Brawl Ball, you try to use it to both heal yourself and your teammates if you can, but focus on supering low HP enemies behind walls to easily confirm kills that would be otherwise impossible to achieve. And especially with the support of his teammates, he's a force to be reckoned with. However, in some modes, Poco is pretty self-sustainable thanks to his healing gadget. That's all I have to say about Brawl Ball. To summarize, get your first super, and just pick on the enemies by using your super behind walls. Alright, the next game mode we're going to talk about is Gem Grab. Gem Grab is probably Attacker Poco's best game mode, as he's really versatile. If you treat him like playing a damage dealer like Amber, you can effectively play Poco here in both mid and lane, depending on what your teammates do. Remember, you aren't a healer, you are a damage dealer. So unless an Edgar jumps on you, you'll probably be fine by pointing from a distance. That's about all for Gem Grab. The next game mode is Heist. Yeah, it's probably best you don't pick the attacker Poco here, as you can't really do that much damage to the safe. But Poco can serve as someone who will defend your safe from incoming danger, due to your above average health and damage capability. That's all attacker Poco can really do in a high setting, however. As I said, he doesn't really use much of his attacks to hit the safe. More, you have to play him like Amber, because you more so defend your safe while having a good amount of HP yourself. Yeah. Alright, the next game mode is Bounty. As Bounty relies on a lot of low health snipers, it is enough time to shine for attacker Poco. You may think that you will get outranged, but by juking and taking a bit of shots, you will have enough pressure to start cycling supers. And as the enemies in Bounty are more squishy brawlers, your super and attacks often are enough to kill them. Which is, good. But your super is also good for sustaining yourself and your team, which is something the attacker Poco shines a lot of other characters. The final game mode I'll talk about is Knockout. This is probably the game mode where Poco will rely on his teammates to get his first super the most. As Knockout is a very passive game mode, you'll probably have to exchange attacks with the enemies. But like Bounty, the brawlers in this game mode are often squishy, so your super is going to be pretty deadly. Especially because Knockout relies on a lot of walls and wall breaking potential for a brawler to be good in it. And as a lot of popular picks in Knockout, being Brock, Piper, Gus, and brawlers like that, like snipers or wall breakers, Poco is actually a really underrated pick here. Alright then. That was all the game modes for the attacker Poco. If I have one tip that I want you guys to get from this video, is treat Poco like you're playing someone like Amber, and attack our defender with splash damage. Alright then, that was all for me. Lunar, out.